Hi, my name is Pawan Oberoi. I'm part of this company called Whiteboard.chat. Well, it's called Epiphany. We have a product called Whiteboard.chat. We are based primarily out of the Bay Area in California. We're a small startup, and we build a different product, but which is used for enterprises. But when the COVID-19 hit, we used parts of that product to create Whiteboard.chat. It's so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you an introduction to Whiteboard.chat. I'll demo the features. I will give you a chance to experience it live as students. And we can do question and answers all throughout. But I request you to please type out the questions on Zoom chat. So Sid, who's one of my colleagues, is going to read them out periodically to me. And then we can just address them on a periodic basis. So where does Whiteboard.chat fit into the virtual class ecosystem? It's primarily in the engagement and observability space. It works really well with communication tools, just like we're using Google Meet, Zoom, or Teams. It works really well with different LMSs. You can just take the link for the invitation of Whiteboard.chat and put it into your Google Classroom. You can embed it as an embedded iframe in Canvas. You can also put it in Schoology. But the main thing that where Whiteboard.chat really shines is this ability for you to assess your students in real time. It's almost as if you can watch over the shoulder of each and every student in your class and see where they're struggling, where they're doing well. You can work with them on a one-on-one basis. You can put them in a group, observe them how they interact with each other in a group, and you can do that for the whole class at the same time, right? Some of the teachers have told us that this is even better than in person, because in person you can just walk around the class and observe one student or one group, but here you can actually watch all of them at the same time and then work with them on one-on-one basis or in a group basis to help them out where they're struggling. I'll show you all of this in the demos. Whiteboard.chat was released just in August this year. It's growing exponentially around the world. It's almost about 40,000 users a day now. It's primarily used in the US, but you can see it pretty much touches most of the parts of the world. Um, Maybe it's not all, but some are missing. And this platform is a fairly young platform. All of the thing that we have created is based on suggestions and feedback that we have received from teachers. We really love to engage with teachers. So teachers tell us to do a certain feature or change the way we have implemented something, and we probably turn it around in a day or two. We do almost weekly releases with whole bunch of new stuff which come out. So follow us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. We have our own YouTube channel as well. You can subscribe to that. There's a group where teachers interact with us and each other on Facebook. It's called Teachers Using Whiteboard.chat. If you are on Facebook, I recommend that you guys join that group if you're going to use this platform. You'll learn a lot more from the teacher community, not just us techie geeks. Right? And of course, you can email at us anytime. We love to hear from you how we can improve, how we can do things better, and so forth. So that said, I'm going to start showing you the platform. So it's a browser-based platform, so it works on a varied set of devices. It works on Chromebooks, on iPads, on computers, whatever have you, right? Mobile devices as well, even though it is not completely designed for mobile devices, especially small screens, but it works there too. We are fully COPPA compliant. Somebody asked about New York's 2D law. We are compliant with that as well. We have signed a bunch of agreements with different schools and school districts, which are more stringent too. There's a privacy statement right here. This is a free platform. We never intend to charge educators for this use. Like I said, we have a different product that we are building for enterprises where we will hopefully make money someday. But this is a free product completely, and we intend to keep it that way. There are no advertising. Students don't even need to register. Teachers don't even need to register. Right? To start using it is very simple. You just click the start drawing button. There are two modes. One is like a regular collaboration board where just like Jamboard or Zoom's whiteboard, where everybody, all the participants end up on the same page. They can write on each other. They can do stuff. But the more interesting thing where you is what we are going to talk about primarily today is the teaching mode, where you can create, assign, and live teach individual student boards. Right? You can upload a multi-page PDF, create a lesson, and start teaching right away. So that's what we are going to talk about. So it's really simple. You just press this button. Again, you do not need an account if you do not want to save your work. If you want to save your work, that's the only time you need to create an account. Right? So as soon as you enter, what you see is that I need to change my default to brush. Right? So you see that you end up on an instructor board, right? You can draw on this board with a pen. You can type anywhere. You don't need to create input text boxes. You just click and start typing, it'll type. You can change colors by going here. You can change it to pink. You see the whole interface changes to that color as well, not just the pen. There is a way to turn that off if you wanted to. We recently added an individual independent text size thing as well. So if you want bigger fonts, smaller fonts, you can use the other slider here. You can change the fonts from here as well. If you click this button, you see a selection of different fonts you can use for this purpose. The default font is called Chewy, right? And you can make your pen a highlighter by reducing the opacity to something lesser, and then you can highlight certain sections. So these are the basic tools here on the right hand bottom corner. And then most of the major tools are here on the left hand side. So you can open this toolbar by clicking this button. You'll see all of the tools more clearly. There's a lasso tool where you can combine certain objects together to make a group. So you can just draw around these two, for example, it make a group, and then you can move them as a group wherever you want to. There's a text tool if you want to use it, but like I said, you can just type anywhere. You can just click anywhere and start typing, and it'll type. There's an eraser. It's an object eraser, so you can erase things really easily on the board. There's a draw tool, which is your pen. Then there's a whole bunch of other tools in here, and there's a line tool. All of these are requested by teachers. There's a line tool where you can draw straight lines, rectangles. You have post-it notes. We have a rich text editor. So if you want to write longer paragraphs of text for some reason and format it in a certain way, you can use the rich text editor as well, where you can save longer text. There is an infinite cloner built in as well. So you can just clone any of the objects that I have put here and make copies of it really easily. There is a way to add an external link. So if you want to create a link to an external website, for example, I want to create a link to Google and I want to have my kids, when they come to this web page, to have access to that link. You can create an external link really easily. So they can just click here on this button and it'll take them on a separate tab to Google. We have a built-in embedded YouTube viewer as well. So you can actually embed YouTube videos. So you just need to click the YouTube and click anywhere on the canvas, and then just copy a YouTube videos link, right? And put that there. So the kids can actually watch YouTube right on Whiteboard.chat. They don't even need to leave Whiteboard. You can watch it right inside here. Right. There is a compass built in where you can actually draw circles, ellipses, not ellipses, but circles or segments of circles really easily. There is a math editor built in as well. So you can write complex equations in math. For example, you want to write a square plus I'm today in four. So you can write a complex math equation as well. If you do a right click and drag, it turns into an eraser. This is a trick. So if you want to erase things really quickly and you don't want to go to the eraser, you can just do a right click and drag. It'll turn into an eraser that you can use. If you press escape at any time, it'll go back to the default tool, which in my case is the brush. It'll go back to that tool. So some shortcuts. We have a built-in dice as well. It's a programmable dice, so you can actually program it to do roles in a certain way, and kids can use it to play games, very many things, which we will show you as well. So that's all the basic tools that we have on the whiteboard. You can create these to construct your lesson. You can also upload PDFs, right? So which is the most useful thing most teachers do. So you just click this upload file. You can upload PDFs. You can upload any image files directly on your computer. So I'm going to load a multi-page PDF. What it has 3 pages. And what Whiteboard.chat does is that for each page in the PDF, so this is page number 1, right? And this is page number 2. There's a page scroller here in the bottom left. For each page in the PDF, it will create a page on Whiteboard.chat, right? And then you can just go start annotating right on top of it. You can draw on it. You can lock the image if you don't want to accidentally move it. You can type on it as well. So if you want to, so you can type anywhere on top of the image that you put there, right? And the students can do the same thing. So what I'll do is at this time, I will show you how to invite students. So you can click this invite button on the top right. There are 3 ways. One is that they can scan a QR code to get into this board directly. You can give them a class code, which they can use to type in if you want to read it out. Or the easiest is this one, where you can copy the invite URL. You can put that on Schoology or in your Google Classroom, or you can even put that in a calendar invite and give it to the kids. So what I'll do is I'll send this link to my teammates who can join as students so we can demonstrate. And I'll open another browser window on the side in incognito mode so you can see the student experience. Right. So this, I just pretend I clicked the link as a student. It asks the students if they have never used Whiteboard before. It'll ask them for an identifier, a name that the teacher can use to identify a student. It can be anything. You can just set that. Right. And then they just get a copy of the board that you created. Right. And the good thing is they can start using it right away. They can start annotating on the PDFs. They cannot erase any of the objects that the teacher has put on the screen. Right. They can interact with them. They can click it. They can do other stuff, but they cannot erase it. They cannot move them around, anything. Right. You don't need to worry about it. And they get their own boards. Right. So this is for the student that I created. And as a teacher, you can press this button, the grid view button, and observe all of the kids in the class at the same time. You can change the size of the grid, so you can make it like 2 by 2. So you can view them in real time as they're doing work, right? Whichever page they are on. So remember, this is almost like you have a camera on top of the kid's shoulder. So whatever the kid is drawing, for example, here, you can see they're doing that here. If they change this page, if they go to page number 2, if they're done with the work on page number 2, you can see that, hey, the camera actually moved to page number 2 too. So you can observe the kids in real time. You can join their board from here as well. So you can, if you want to interact with them on a one-on-one basis, you can join their board and tell them, good job, right? Or pay attention here. And you can see it comes on the student board directly. You can even give them stickers. I will show you some of these manipulators later, but you can give them, like, for example, Santa hat. Here, you're doing a really good job. You get it right on their board, right? And once you're done interacting with the kid, you can go back to the main page, go back to the grid view, and keep observing the rest of the class as they're going through the lesson, right?
So, Pawan, do you have some time for
Yes,
questions?
I was going to pause for questions.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Yeah. So, first question was the YouTube video. Is that box resizable?
So yes, it is resizable, but unfortunately, it doesn't save the size that it was set to. We are going to fix it probably in the next day or so.
Okay. Can students erase what the teacher presents on the board?
No, so the students don't even have access to the teacher's board. You see that they only have access to their own board. They cannot see other students. They cannot see the teacher's stuff. Even if they try to erase, they can only erase the objects that they have put, like not none of the objects that the teacher has put on the board.
Okay. And where can the teachers find help on the math input and for math symbols?
Yes, good question. I forgot to show that. So on this three dot menu, there is a help menu here. So there's a math input guide. You can look through that. It has a whole bunch of ways you can input different things. You can input equations, quadratic equations, polynomials, fractions, summations, integrals, trigonometry, whatever else you would want, right? There is also this help thing is pretty useful. Like I said, we release new stuff there's a teacher's guide, students guide, there is a detailed documentation of new features that we release every week, so you can see with links to videos and all of that stuff right here.
Okay. Can we add in pages before page one or in between pages?
So we are active right now. We don't have the ability to rearrange pages, right? So, but we are actively working on it. Hopefully by this weekend, we'll have the ability. So you can rearrange pages, delete pages, insert pages, all of that.
Okay. Can we share the link live during Google Meets?
Yes, I will do that with you at the end. So I will actually create a board and share that live with you. And you can keep editing the board while the kids are on a different page. You can, and they will see, for example, I see here, if I'm writing something here on the teacher's board, you can see it shows up live on the student's board too.
Cool. And can you show again how to go to the grid view, please?
Yes, so it's this button here which says grid view. This is only available to the teachers or the co-teachers, and they are the only ones who can see the grid view.
Okay. How can the teacher lock PDF so that the students can't move it?
The students cannot move or do anything with the teacher's objects anyways when they're in teacher's mode, right? So you see, if I try to use the move tool, for example, or the select tool, I cannot move any of the objects that a teacher has placed. I can move the things I have drawn, but I cannot do anything with the teacher's objects. But some, like if the teachers have, oops, sorry. So teachers have the ability, you can use the select tool. So if you go to the select tool here, on the left hand side or right click, you can either do them. You can lock this so you don't accidentally delete or move this object as well, right? So there's an ability so that now you as a teacher, you cannot move or delete that background PDF too.
Right. Uh, I think some teachers are unable to see the features that you're demonstrating. Is so maybe the toolbar they're not seeing the whole toolbar.
uh,
Is
on the
that it
Zoom
could be because of
window.
the scrolling? No, I think on their board they can't see the toolbar.
On their board. Oh, I see.
Yes.
So, okay, yeah. So if your screen is smaller, right? If your screen is a little smaller here, you'll see that some of the tools are hidden below. So you might need to scroll down to see the whole toolbar that I'm showing.
Okay. And some teachers have had their students write on other students' board. What did they do wrong?
So one of the most common things that people do is that they send this link, the board link, instead of the link from the invite button, right? If you send the board link, then all the kids end up on the teacher's board actually, right? They can end up on the teacher's board, so then they can write on each other. So it's very important to send the invite link from here. You can also prevent, in this gear menu there are a bunch of options. You can, this is a one we recommend where you check mark this one. Students can only draw on their individual or group boards, so then they cannot write on anywhere else. Even if you're showcasing another student's work, they cannot write on other kids boards as well.
Yeah. So there are a few more questions, but I think you should move on and we can take them again.
Okay. All right. So I'll keep going. So that's the basic tools. I will show you some more tools for constructing classes, playing games, all of that stuff, right? So one of the recent features we added was for the kids to use their webcams, right? So you can actually, if you're doing work in um, on paper and pencil, you can just take a picture. The kids, this right hand side is a kids board, right? So they can just use the webcam to take a picture of their work. This is my to-do list. And then you can just place that on whiteboard.chat directly, right? So page number 4, I placed it there. And as a teacher, you can actually see it right there. You can see it on the grid view that, hey, this kid has done this work. You can join that board. You can do the corrections on the picture or tell them as if they're doing the real paper and pencil work right there. Right? This is useful when you're doing hybrid or even in class and you don't want to touch the papers and so forth, right? You can also embed audio and video onto the whiteboard directly from your mic. So you can, like, if you want the kids to read out a passage, right? Um, you can just have them record it, hello, 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 and then save it on the board itself, right? And then you as a teacher can go back and check that work and play it, the audio right there on the whiteboard itself. You can also, just like you have audio, you can do webcam videos too, but for that you have to enable it from this gear menu. You have to go say enable webcam video recording, and then the kids will have access to use their camera as well. So also we recently, so there's a whole bunch of grids that are available. So there's a regular grid you can use to do graphing exercises. There's a bigger grid. We added alignment to this grid so you can actually do math problems really easily. These are all teacher requested features. So you can say 23 plus 45, 46, right? Um, so it becomes like somewhat like Excel, right? So it's easier to use, and you can keep creating it, auto line stuff to it as well, right? Same for the handwriting grid. There's auto alignment built in. There's a programming grid. There's a music sheet built in. Music teachers love it. They were not able to teach music theory, so we added a music sheet here. So along with, so I'm actually doing this on the student board. Let me go back to the instructor board, right? So you can say music sheet, and then you can, and we have a whole bunch of manipulatives here. So if you click this palette icon, this is for younger kids. Instead of them monkeying with the colors from here, they can just pick colors from here, very easy, right? And then there's a whole bunch of manipulatives here, right? So you can have math manipulatives if you want to teach younger kids stuff and you don't want to type out math. There's music manipulatives. Music teachers love this. Like I said, you can actually teach music theory with this, right? There is letters with capital letters, numbers, right? Even magnetic letters with different colors, right? So then there is manipulators. These are math manipulators. This is very popular as well. So you have like 100 blocks, you have 10 blocks, you have 1 blocks, you have algebraic tiles, right? There is a protractor built in, there's a ruler built in, right? And there is a axis built in, there's shapes, different shapes, there's a 10 frame, number bond, there's place value charts, there are number lines, right? There are arches, there are fraction tiles, right? Uh, there are touch point numbers, there are multiplication charts, 100 charts, all of that stuff, right, in the manipulative. And these are super simple for us to add. So if you think something is needed and we don't have it, we can easily add it. And you as a teacher can add objects on your own as well. So if you want to add your bit emoji, which some teachers do, to the palette, they can actually add that to their palette as well, personalize it. We have reward stickers, right? So you can give trophies to kids, you can tell them good job. There's a whole bunch of things. There are currencies, US currency, Canadian currency. We recently added chemistry, like organic chemistry stuff as well. A chemistry teacher said it's impossible for us to teach chemistry, so we added this uh, chemistry thing where you can create at molecules or stuff, right?
Pawan, can you show again how to open up this panel? I think there are a lot of questions about that.
You can just click this palette. There's this palette thing on the top. It opens two things. It opens the color ball, and then this will be defaulting to math. So if you click this thing, little arrow next to it, you can see the menu of objects here.
Awesome, thanks.
And then you can add, we also add seasonal things, like we have Christmas things going on right now. Any of these objects that you have, you can use the select tool. I like to double click, and you can animate them as well. So you can rotate objects, you can move them around. Not only what you use from manipulatives, but even things you draw, like you can do the same thing to that. So you can create animations. Kids like this quite a bit. So, or you want to catch your attention on a certain part, you can use animations there too. We have candies, we have Hanukkah stickers, New Year stickers, and we have widgets. So this is also really cool that we can actually add spinners. So there's a built-in spinner, just like the dice, where you can say you can customize it to have different values, and you can say sync student spins. Right. So now if I'm on page 6, so if I can go to page 6 on the student side, you can see I have the spinner there, and they can do this on group boards as well, where they can play games with each other. And you can see when the kids is spinning, the whole class can see who spun it and what is the answer to the spinner. So you can customize the spinner with kids' names, with numbers, whatever else have you. Right? There's a built-in clock as well, so analog clock. So if you want to teach time, you can use that too. I placed 2 of them. Right, so you can use that to tell time, or ask kids to tell time. So I'll pause here for a second, Sid, and see if you have questions.
Yeah. How can I share a board with another teacher, not in real time, where I can send the board to a colleague that they can use?
Yes, so in this manage books section here on the tools, you can see there is a whole bunch of tools. You can send a copy. So this will create a copy of this board that I created uh, whenever somebody clicks it. And none of your student work or your work will get shared. Right? Your students won't get shared, but they will get a copy of your board. Right? You can publish this to a community as well. We have a community of about 50 boards that other people have submitted, right? And you can browse through them and you can publish something to the community as well. You can delete pages. You can delete this board forever. You can clear all the pages. When you do clear all, it will clear your work and all the other kids' work as well. Right? I'll show you the bingo thing at the end. We are adding Among Us as well, another game that you can play on this. Right? And I'll show you that too. You can save a copy. So if you're teaching 2 sections, section A and section B, and you want to use the same board again, you can save a copy. So you can create one copy and another copy for another um, class, right? And then you can export and import boards. So by default, our boards expire in 2 weeks. I will show you how to extend that. But you can actually export it and save it on your Google Drive for how much ever you want to, and then you can upload it back when you're ready to use it again. Okay, save.
Okay. How can you limit the tools for the students? It seems like the feature has moved.
It's still here in the gear menu. So if you go here, you can say students see simple tools. So there are you can turn on this students see simple tools or very simple tools. Very simple tools is for very young kids. So if I turn that on, you see that their toolbar is much smaller than mine, right? They just have access to the draw tool, to the move tool, to erase and text, and also the camera, because you want the kids to take pictures of their work, right? That's all they have access to.
Cool. Can students record a video or audio response to the
Yes,
board?
yes, that's what I was showing you earlier. I can show it one more time. So this time I will enable webcam video recording as well. So not only audio, but you can also record videos. So on the kids side, right, they can just go here, and now they have video, right? So you can say, this is my response. You can say, hello, 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 right? And they can make sure that this is what they want to save, and then they can put it on their screen. Right? And then as a teacher, you can see this is the response. And then when you as a teacher, this is on the teacher side, you can join that student's board, right, from the grid view, and you can asynchronously go and view it anytime, right? So you can do that. Video recordings right here is very simple for the kids to use.
Okay. Is there a limit on how many pages can be uploaded to the board?
Right now we have a limit of a PDF which can have 50 pages to be uploaded. The board itself has a limit of 100 pages, but these are all artificial limits. If you want more, we can easily add more.
Cool. Could you also show how you uploaded the worksheet again, please?
Yes, sure. So I'll upload a different kind of worksheet to show a different exercise. So what I'll do is that this upload file here, right? You can just use that. You can say continents. I want to load a world map. So you can just pick the file from your browser and it'll upload it here, right? Now remember, so if I go to page number 7, where this thing is on the board, right? You can see that it came on the kids board as well. I want kids to identify continents. So I say, where is Asia? Where is Africa? Right? Where are the oceans? And I want to have them place, let's say, images of dolphins in the oceans as well, right? So I can just copy something from the internet, an image of a dolphin, and paste it onto my map, right? So you can just use the paste key, which is Command B, and it'll show up on the map on your board here. I can resize it by using this move and resize tool. Move and resize tool is the easiest one to use to resize objects or to move them around, right? And that's it. Now I have all of this available to the kids as well. But remember, the kids don't have the ability, if they try to use the move tool, they don't have the ability to move any of the objects the teacher has placed, right? But you as a teacher, so can give them the ability. So you can just go here, you can right click this guy or double click. You can use the select tool. Okay, you can use the select tool and say student can move this object, student can move this object, and student can clone this object, and student can clone this object, right? That's it. Now this has become your personal palette, right? So what the students now have the ability is they can move Asia to the right place, they can move Africa to the right place, and then they can make copies, infinite clone, without using any tools, make copies of the ocean or the dolphin, right? They can keep making copies of it. And this is useful when you're teaching math and you want to give the manipulatives and all of that stuff, right? They can just put the manipulatives to count up to the numbers that you want them to count to. That's how most teachers use it.
Okay. There's questions on how you can add images and make your own objects. Huh?
Yes, so just like I pasted an image from the internet, what you can do is that I want to use this dolphin again and again, imagine this was my bit emoji, right? So what I can do is I can again use the select tool. I can say add to palette, right? And when you say add to palette, it'll ask you for a name. This is a dolphin, right? And at that point, what it does is that again, if I click the palette object and go to my objects, right? You can see all of the things that I have put. So I have put the dolphin. Now I can use this dolphin in multiple lessons. I have it as part of my library, so I can use it again and again. And this can be an object that you download from the internet. It can be even a drawing that you made. So last time, like I made a star, I drew a star and added it to my palette as well.
Okay. Can you add Google Slides directly here?
So Google Slides, you have to convert them to PDF. So once you convert them to PDF, you can upload them into Whiteboard.chat.
Okay. Do the students need to save the board when they're done? If students do not save, will the teacher get a copy of it?
Yes. So I'll show you some of the things there really quickly. So I think all of the work that the teacher is doing is automatically saved. So if you go to, I'll call this December 17th. Class 1, right? So this is the name that I gave to this class, right? So if I go to manage books, manage boards here, I can see all of my work. So for this, you need to create a login, right? This is the only thing you need to create a login. You can log in with Google directly, and you can see all of the work that not only you did, right, but also all of the students did as part of this one, not the one or the dev 17. Typed. Right. So all of the work that I am doing and as well as all the students are doing gets automatically saved. The students don't need to create an account. They can asynchronously work on their things too, and it automatically keeps getting saved in my account. So I can go back to it at any time. Right. If you're doing assessments and you want to walk through kids boards, you can click this 3-button icon, open class boards. Right, you can go to, hey, I want to quickly see page number 1 of this student, page number 1 of this student, page number 1 of this student, and quickly walk through all of their work as well.
Can you show how to extend the expiry of the boards again, Pawan, please?
Yes, I forgot to show that. So go back to manage boards. So you see that on the right hand side, there is a thing which shows expiry. You just click this clock thing and it'll extend the expiry on not only your board, but all the student boards associated with it as well. You can create folders, move things between folders and all of that stuff here as well. And the community boards are here as well. So if you hit this community board button, you can see all the other teachers' work they have shared. You can make copies of it from the community too.
Related question, Pawan. So can the students use the same link to go back to their board?
Yes. So what happens is that the students can asynchronously work on their board at any time. So if I were to pretend to close this browser, right, and then if I were to go back, and go back to the same link. Now, because this was an incognito browser, it has forgotten who the student was, right? They'll be asked for their name again. If they give the same name, they'll be taken back to exactly where they left off, whichever board they were working on. So they have their work still saved. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I think most of the stuff is about asynchronous learning. I think we've covered that. I think there's a question about can spaces be added to the spinner. I will try it out and I'll respond to that as well directly to the teacher.
Okay. There are some other features. There's a built-in timer, like you can give a timed activity. I want to give everybody 4 minutes to do this work. Everybody gets the timer on their screen, right? You can turn off the timer once it's done. You can create, so students have the ability to raise their hand. So if they are done with the work or if they need help, they can raise their hand by clicking this hand icon. They can either say, I finished my work, or they can say, I want to just request for help, right? And here you can see on the teacher side, you'll get a notification who's asking for what, help, or who's done, right? And then if you click their name, it'll take you exactly where they are on that board, and you can help them right there, right? And then you can go back, once you're done, you can go back to the instructor board and continue to do what you were doing.
Another interesting question, Pan. If a student puts in a different student's name, then can they access another student's work?
They can. So that's a shortcoming, if you will. You can click this gear icon and say only logged in users can join board, right? Then they're forced to give a authenticated, either use Google login, or they are used to use an email to log in, and then they cannot go to each other's boards at all.
Cool. Question about the dice. I think people have tried to clear the dice using the clear page, but maybe we should show them the hide dice option.
Yeah, so just like in the tools menu, you have a show dice, right? Once you put the dice on the screen, if you have to remove it, you have to go back to that place and it becomes hide dice. So you click it again and then you can hide it.
Great.
You can make,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you have multiple dice as well as a 10-sided die?
We don't have 10-sided. You can make multiple dice though. You can just click this and say, I want 2 dice. I want these to be programmable. So you can actually write the numbers you want them to spin to. So you can easily do that as well, right? And then they'll actually spin to those numbers that you specified.
Thanks. I think you can keep going, Paul.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so another interesting thing is that you can make co-teachers. So if you click this and you have a co-teacher, so for example, I want this student to be co-teacher, I can just click this button and say make this person a co-teacher, and then they have access to the same tools that you do, right? They have the ability, if somebody raises their hand, they will get a notification. They have the ability to do grid view, and they can join the student boards and all of that stuff as a co-teacher in your class, right? You can take away, once you're done, you can take away the co-teacher privilege, then they'll be sent back to their own student board, right? You can showcase a student's work. So for example, if I want to say, hey, Sid or Praveen Sid is doing really good job, right? So I want to show everybody's his work. I just click this button and everybody's browser updates to show Sid's work, right? And but it hides the name, so it's anonymous, so the students don't see whose work is being showcased, but they can if you want the student to talk through it, they can talk through it, right? The other, you can turn that off by clicking this guy, and it'll turn off the showcasing, and then everybody will be sent back to their own boards, right? You can create group boards, which I'll show you that in a second. You can do other things where you can set it to follow teacher. So if you want the kids to follow the page you're on, so if you're on page 1, you go to page 2, the kids browsers automatically change pages as you go through your pages, right? You can lock a class. So if you're doing an assessment, for example, after you're done, you can lock it, and then the kids cannot write on it anymore. They cannot do anything they can view it, they can view their boards, but they cannot change anything. And you can put the answer keys, you can do your corrections, you can give them points, and they can see what you did, right?
Pawan, related question. What is the difference between a lock class and the lock page?
So lock page is new. We just added it yesterday. So you can actually lock pages. So if you, for example, I want to lock page number 3, right? So the kids cannot do anything on page number 3, but they can go to the next page and continue doing what they were supposed to be doing, right? So the page 3 is activity is done, it's locked, and you can keep going through and doing more stuff on other pages. You can create a group board as well. This is super interesting for playing games or doing group activities. So what you do is that create group board. You can add students that you want in the group. So you can pick the students, move them to the right, and call it a name. I say this is my blue group, right? And then all of the students automatically move over to the blue group, right? So they're all on the blue group. You can see each other's mouse. They can collaborate with each other. As a teacher, you can turn on chat also. The chat is unique, that it's a one-to-many chat. So only what teacher types only goes to all the students, but the students chat only goes to the teacher. But in the group mode, they can talk to each other as well, right? Only when they're in the group mode. And the teacher still gets a copy of what the students are talking about in the blue group. And here also, when they're on the group board, they cannot erase each other's work. So for example, if I try to erase something, I can only erase my drawing. I cannot erase other kids' drawing or the work that the other kids are doing, right? So you can preserve the other kids' activity, and even if somebody is trying to erase other kids' work, they cannot erase it, even in the group board. And once you're done with the group activity, you just hit this trash icon, and then the group board is saved. It will still be in your managed boards, but at that point, the kids are sent back to their individual boards as well. I'll pause here for a second, see if you have questions.
Yes, can the teacher have multiple boards for different students on the grid view at the same time?
Not right now. You can, so teachers do different things. So like if they want to give individualized lessons, or like they have students at different skill levels, what they do is that they say pages 1 to 5 are yeah, beginner level, and then intermediate level are 6 through 8 and so forth, right? So they do things like that. Or you can open two browser windows and work through different boards. But I think we are thinking about how to add. If you have suggestions, I'd love to hear how you can do this more seamlessly.
Great. There's a question about how I could use this with a Google Classroom.
So you just take this invite link, right, for your lesson, copy this and put this in your Google Classroom, right? So the kids can just click it at any time and they'll get to their boards whenever they need to, right, during the lesson time or even after, in fact.
So I think there might be a slightly different type of question maybe the teacher wants to ask. So yeah, typically, once we're done with the top of the hour, we just open up the conference for people to ask their questions. So maybe Kesha, you can ask your question more specifically. Then maybe I'm not articulating it correctly.
Yeah. So what Sid said, basically, after we are done with what we want to show in an hour, we stick around for 30 more minutes. If you have individual things that you want to discuss, we'd love to do that.
Question about locking pages, Pawan. Can you lock multiple pages or a range of pages?
Right now you have to go to each page and lock it. So you can do page 1 lock, page 2 lock, right? Yeah, you can do lock multiple pages, but it's a little tedious. We can make it easier. If you have suggestions, please reach out.
Okay. Where are these files being saved, and what is the file type, like folder name, so on?
So all of these files are saved in our cloud provider. We use Amazon as our cloud provider. They're all being saved, encrypted and saved there, right? It's in our proprietary format, but you as a teacher have the ability to download it. So you can say, hey, I want to download this whole class as a PDF. So you can download the class as a PDF. The kids have the ability, not in the baby mode, but if I were to give them the full access to the tools, right, then they have ability to download their work, their class, right? So they can click the download button and then they can download, it'll download the, oh, this page is locked, right? So then they can download their PDF and submit it to, yeah, you can download this board and then you can submit it to Google Classroom or wherever else you want to write their work. And you can do that for the whole class. You can click here and say whole class as a single PDF or one class, one PDF per scholar. You can do that as a teacher too.
Okay. Do we have a YouTube channel and video tutorials?
Yes, we have lots of video tutorials. We upload every week's webinar there as well. Please search for our YouTube channel, or one of you guys, Praveen or Sid, can you put a link to
Yeah.
the YouTube channel?
Uh, can these downloaded notes be added to OneNote?
The downloaded PDFs can be added to OneNote. Yeah, of course.
Okay. I think there was just a comment on this. I think I'm just sorting through the questions. So, but yeah, if you want to go ahead with some of the other features, Pawan, that's fine. I'll
Okay.
just make sure.
I think I'm mostly done with the features I wanted to show. So, oh, maybe a little bit of voting. So we just added ability for to conduct votes. So you can actually click this and say, um, there are two ways. You can say poll or vote. The difference is that in the case of vote, the kids get to see the result. In the case of poll, they don't see the result. So you can say, I want you to vote for blue, green, or yellow, okay, and send that to the kids. They get an option. Oops, this is the PDF page. I hate this. Here. You see the options blue, green, yellow, and the kids can just click one of them and they'll see, hey, green got one vote, yellow got one vote. So all three of them got one vote. So they can see what they're voted on. Right? So that's a new thing that we just added recently. The polls are a little similar, but they don't get to see a result. Only the teacher gets to see who said what. And this is anonymous completely voting. So what I'll do is that I'll show you another feature and I'll invite you to that board. So I'll go back to the home page. There is a way you can play bingo with this. So there is the way to construct the bingo board is to download a special kind of PDF, or there are websites you can do that. There's a YouTube video on our channel which tell you about the websites. But each page of the PDF is a different bingo tile. You can see this is my PDF. And I can go to whiteboard.chat and go to, instead of using upload file, I go to manage book and say upload bingo, right? And then I just look for this file on my local hard drive, right? And then that bingo file gets uploaded to whiteboard chat in a special way that each participant gets a random tile out of that whole thing, right? So if I were to invite, now I'll send you an invite so you can join as students and play bingo with me, right? I'll post this on the Zoom chat. Somebody was asking how you can do live. So you can see I just created this board, I pasted this on Zoom chat. I'll also paste it to this fake student that I have on the right? And you can all see that, see, every tile is different. Everybody gets their own tile. And then you can start playing bingo. Just use the draw tool, right, to start drawing on it. I don't know what is my default tool in this case. It is the draw, right? So again, each student can start drawing on their charts, and as a teacher on the grid view I can see everybody, right? I can see the whole class. I can see who's winning, who's not winning, who hasn't marked anything, and then I can call up certain numbers based on where other kids are at, right? So it's really cool to see kids playing in real time bingo when they're doing that.
Pawan, there's a question about just the privacy terms. Is this tool only allowed for students 13 years of age and older?
No, we it's not. There is no restriction. We don't require the kids to log in. We don't collect any PII information. So no, uh, it's used from all the way to pre-K to universities. Actually, this tool is so is used in ways we couldn't even imagine by teachers. So it's quite unique.
Yeah, one question about how can the teachers create their own bingo?
You will have to. So if you one way you can think about it is that you can create um, different pages in Microsoft Word or any such document editor or Google Docs, right? And each page can have, you just keep copying the page and changing stuff and then export it as PDF, right? And then you can import into Whiteboard.chat too. And there are free online tools to create
Yeah.
bingo tiles as well. So
So
math and chemistry.
myfreebingocards.com is one of those.
That's the one. Yeah, my free bingo cards.
How can we share the student work anonymously, Pawan?
So just like I was showing you earlier, what when you showcase a student's work, so if I want to showcase the student one, for example, so right now I'm going to showcase with all of you guys, right? You cannot see the name, so you can see I'm showcasing somebody's work, right? But you cannot see whose work. Well, with bingo, it doesn't work really that well because the bingo tile, it does work kind of. But you can see their work on your screens, but you don't see their name, whose work is being showcased, right? And then if I stop showcasing, it'll go back to your individual board.
Just one clarification. Do you have to change the student to a teacher in order to share their work?
No. There are two things, two separate things. Either you make somebody a co-teacher or you showcase their board, right? If you want teachers, students to draw on the teacher's board, then you have to make them a teacher, right? But if you just want to showcase their individual board to the rest of the class, you don't need to.
Great. I think this would be a good time, Kesha, if you want to unmute and ask your question about Google Classroom.
Sure. I have already added the link to my Google Classroom, but I'm not sure how to go in as a teacher so that I can see my students' slides.
So yeah, maybe what we can do is we can show you that after the class. We will ask you to share your screen so we can walk you through how you can see the um, student slides. I'm assuming you created an account, right? But you have to create an account for you to watch. So yeah, we'll go
Yes.
through that. Okay, any other questions, Sid? Or do we want
No,
to go through?
I think we've caught up on most of them. I'm just going to do a scan once more. There are a few more questions that came in. Looks like. Um, is it possible to get a copy of this pre-recorded presentation?
Yeah, so we the recording that I do, we post that on YouTube in the afternoon today. So we'll post it. So if you follow us on any of the social media places or you join the group that Sid was showing you, you'll get a copy.
Okay. And if you make a student a teacher so that they can tutor a student, can you also reverse that?
Yeah, you can take it away. So just like you, if you make somebody a teacher, and then you can undo it. So if I make this student a teacher, for example, right, and then you can, once they're done with the activity, you can say undo teacher, and then they go back to being a student.
Okay. And there's another question about the service being free. Is there also a paid version?
There is no paid version. We don't want to make a paid version. So if there is a specific feature that you need, please let us know. We can consider it, but we don't want to have a paid version for this.
Great. What is the classroom code used for?
So there is another way for people to join. So younger kids, or if you want to read it out to people. So what you can do is just like, if you look at the invite, there's the classroom code. And if you guide them to go to whiteboard.chat, there is a way they can enter the classroom code here, right? So the same code that you see there, and they will get to the board as well. So there's another way for them to join the board.
Okay. There's a question about uh, when someone was navigating to this tool, they were seeing a paid version. So likely something else, not whiteboard.chat.
Yeah, we don't have a paid version.
Okay. Is there a way as a teacher to erase all student boards but to keep the teacher inputs on there?
No, we haven't. I think other teachers have asked us for that too. So we will implement it. There is a way to clear all. So if you go to the manage books, you can say clear all pages, but that will also clear the teacher's work unless you have locked it. Let me just mute people. Sid, you'll have to unmute again if you talk. Okay. So yeah, so you can clear all pages, but you cannot keep only the teacher's work unless you have locked it. So we will add another option to just clear the student's work. You can delete individual students. Again, if you click this icon, you say open class boards. You see this trash icon, you can delete individual students from the class, their boards as well. So you can just click that and it'll take it away completely.
Yeah, what is the difference between start teaching and start collaborating?
So start collaborating is everybody ends up on the same board. So if I were to, let me just show you, might as well, we have time, 2 minutes. So you can say start collaborating, for example. It says single board. So on the top, you can see which mode you are in. Right? If it says single board, that means there's a single board for everybody. And then when you invite people to that board, right, then you'll see that you can see each other's mouse. Like for example, I'm drawing here. And let me change the color for this person. Right, and then this person is drawing here. But here you can erase each other's work as well, right? So it's a collaboration whiteboard, regular collaboration whiteboard. All right. Any other questions, or do you want to go
Yeah,
through?
there's a request about how do you, can you show how you log in once you've created an account?
So once you have created an account, it automatically signs you in. But you can click this, and if I say sign out, right, it will sign me out completely. So now if I go to whiteboard.chat, right, I've signed out. So you can click here. Either you can click manage boards. It will force you to log in. We recommend people log in with Google or with Facebook. Don't need to create a local account with us, right? You can just click this. I'll ask you which account of Google do you want to associate with, and then it will take you there. And you can see which account you're logged in here as well.
Yeah. Do the teachers have to create a board every day, or can they
No,
use the same board?
yeah, most teachers use the same board for weeks or even for the whole semester. They just keep extending it, the expiry. So you don't have to use this different board every day.
Great. On a grid background, can the teacher draw without a fill color and then let students clone it and move it to show transformations of shapes in geometry?
Draw on shape without a fill color and then let the students clone it and move to. Let me attempt that.
Maybe what they need is just the math manipulatives.
Yeah, you can do that too, or you can do it on your own as well. It's interesting. Why not? Right. So you can go to the grid view and you can say, I want to create a shape. Um, right, and then this is a simpler shape, but yeah, you can make it more complex. You can just say lasso it together so it becomes the same shape, and say students can clone, right? And then on the student boards, they can go and move it around, make it bigger, smaller, whatever else they need to. So this is the student side, right? You can see that, oh, this one is, okay, yeah, so they'll have to lasso. Yeah, so I know what the issue is, but okay, because the lasso tool doesn't, the cloning doesn't work together, so not quite, but we can make it work. You can do it with other kinds of shapes, but not with a line right now.
Is there a way to clone an entire page and also to copy and paste an entire whiteboard page to a new class?
You can create another class. So you can create another class, save a copy. You can copy this page to another page. It'll add it at the end. So you say copy page, it'll add it to the end of the page, right? So it'll make another page which is identical. So you see page number 2 and page number 1 are identical. You can do that. But we are going to add more tools for you to be able to tweak the pages. I think we are out of time. So what I'm going to do is stop recording, but we'll, like I said, we'll be here. So if you want to continue asking questions or working with us, we'll be here